Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. When it comes to Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, we need to understand, people, the role that Deontay Wilder played and where Tyson Fury is today in boxing. Listen, doesn't matter if you like Deontay Wilder or not. Doesn't matter if you like Tyson Fury or not. Before Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, when it comes to his fights, no one was really breaking their neck to get in front of the TV to watch Tyson Fury. Remember, Tyson Fury was the master boxer. People say he was pillow-fisted. Once he got in that ring with Deontay Wilder, a lot of things changed for Tyson Fury, and a lot of things changed for Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury had clipped Klitschko, but he didn't go knock him out. He did hit him with some pretty hard shots, but he wasn't really trying to land that KO punch. It was more box, move, be smart, be intelligent, humiliate Klitschko, which he did in Germany. He did. He made Klitschko look crazy. But when he returned home, even his own countrymen didn't show him any love. And Tyson Fury went through a very difficult time. But Tyson Fury needed that right dancing partner. He needed that right dancing partner. So he goes away, works through his issues, returns in a more positive light. People still didn't support him 100% like he deserved. There was some starting to kind of get on the bandwagon, but the majority still were like, nah, this guy said a lot of horrible things about women, horrible things when it comes to drugs. Just, it was outlandish. It was ridiculous. It was extreme stuff Tyson Fury was saying. He had a few fights, doing his normal boxing, winning, came to the States, planned to take over America, got into that last fight with Otto Wallen. He and Deontay Wilder were supposed to fight. Let me tell you something, man. Tyson Fury he was lucky to escape that fight with the win. They should have stopped it because that cut was so bad. But anyway, fast forward past Tyson Fury returning, the few comeback fights he had with these guys, and then he's still not getting the recognition he needs and the support that he wants, and he's trying to figure out what next. And he and Deontay Wilder had some history, the back and forth jawing at each other, Tyson Fury getting in the ring and doing his WWE thing, throwing his jacket on the ground. But the spark was really ignited when he and Deontay Wilder announced to the world they were going to fight. That helped. That had the whole world talking. Not because Tyson Fury it wasn't solely about Tyson Fury. It was about Deontay Wilder. So see, what Deontay Wilder had already captured the imagination of fans with his punching power. The stuff he was doing in the ring, the Stavern in the rematch, Luis Ortiz in both fights, what he did to Brazil, that one right there, really, I think that scared everybody. That was vicious. Even though Deontay Wilder escaped that first round because Deontay Wilder got hurt, he was lucky because when he went into those ropes, Brazil caught him with I think it was a left hook or something, but he hurt Wilder. I don't care what you say. But Wilder came back, the referee broke him up, he came back. That right hand, it was lights out. So Deontay Wilder he had a lot of just people just clamoring over him like, yo, how in the world is Tyson Fury going to keep this guy off of him? And Deontay Wilder's confidence was through the roof at that point. And Tyson Fury, he was always confident. So going into that first fight, the whole world's watching now. So now you got all these people who maybe were doubting Fury. Then you have people who are doubting Wilder, like, hey, there's no one in the world he can win against Fury. Fury's a master boxer. But no one thought Fury could hurt Wilder. They get in there, and remember, Wilder's bringing his profile. He's bringing his fans. Tyson Fury's bringing his profile. He's bringing his fans. And then you have all these casuals on the sideline who are sitting around going about their normal daily lives, and they keep seeing this crap coming up on TV and commercials about this guy Wilder and Fury. Seeing it on social media, the fight of the decade, the biggest heavyweight fight since, Lewis and Tyson. All of this stuff going on, and people are like, who aren't even boxing fans are like, what is this? Who are these guys? So now you tap into a pool of people who normally wouldn't have any interest in boxing, and now they know these two names. It's probably say half of them tuned in at a friend's house at a sports bar, ordered the fight, or post fight went on there and read about the comments and analysis, the fight breakdown, what happened, post fight breakdown, right? Now everyone is talking about that first fight because what Tyson Fury did in that first fight was absolutely amazing the way he boxed. What Deontay Wilder did was absolutely amazing to show resiliency and come back and be able to drop him twice and almost get him out of there. Absolutely amazing. So now they already captured the minds of the imagination, but now these two guys are put into this space of not being human in a sense. So both of their profiles skyrocketed. It took it to a whole nother level. It overshadowed everything that AJ was doing, because at the time AJ was kind of the man. Overshadowed everything he was doing because they were the three-headed monster. Wilder, Fury, AJ. AJ and Hearn were all about money. Can't blame him for chasing money. But ultimately, look where Joshua is now. That hurt him. Yeah, it's like Mayweather says, can't eat belts. I get it. AJ is in an outstanding financial point in his life. And that's to be commended. Job well done, Hearn. That's ultimately what you're supposed to do. But look at what AJ's in now. He's lost twice, and he's coming back and will probably lose again. And if he loses the second time with Usyk, AJ will never have an opportunity to get those belts back. Those belts it's gone, it's over. And then he no longer has those bargaining chips. But he didn't have those career-defining fights in, even if it was just one person. He doesn't have that. To have the label as just this phenomenal heavyweight champion. Sometimes they need a good dancing partner. He hasn't had that yet. But for Wilder and Fury, their profiles elevated exponentially because of that first fight. So then you go into the second fight, right? So now whatever their followers were, say they each added another 1 million, 2 million. And now they're getting some of each other's fan base. So now you have, where someone was a Fury fan, now they're saying, man, that guy Wilder can fight. So they're still supporting Fury, but now they kind of, liking Wilder's videos, joining his Twitter, his Instagram. So now you see his stuff growing. Same thing with Wilder. They're like, man, I didn't expect this guy to come in here and look like that. And now they're not necessarily supporting him, but they may become go to his Twitter page and subscribe, go to his Instagram or whatever. They go into the second fight. And this is where things get really mythical. They come into that second fight, and it just looks like everyone's like, Deontay Wilder's going to get him out of there this time. But a lot of us who saw things in that first fight, like if Tyson Fury would have pressed on the gas, he could have got Wilder out of there. Because when he was coming forward, he was hurting Wilder. But he was concerned about the punching power. That second fight, he said he wasn't going to be worried about it. And that second fight, that showed the whole world that Tyson Fury is no longer just this soft-fisted guy, this master boxer, someone who didn't really generate a lot of interest. Tyson Fury took his profile beyond the moon. I mean, way beyond the moon in that fight, because no one expected him to do to Deontay Wilder what he did. And as a result, Tyson Fury just leaps and bounds beyond all the heavyweights, the current heavyweights. There's no one who can touch him. With that performance that he put on. And it's because of who Deontay Wilder was. It's not like he did that against Romain Stavern, or he did that against an old Povetkin. He did that against a prime Deontay Wilder, the scariest man in the heavyweight division, the hardest puncher, the guy AJ didn't want to fight. You see, AJ wanted to get paid. He didn't really want to get in there with Wilder, but he was looking for a big payday. And Tyson Fury, with all of the issues he had in the past, came back and took on the monster, the boogeyman, and knocked him out. So now Tyson Fury is, and this is happening in America, and now he's getting all the support that he's ever wanted from his fellow countrymen, and actually the whole damn world. But stateside, everyone knew him. Everyone loved him. Deontay Wilder, people still loved him because then came out the controversy. Cheating, all the allegations. I ain't getting into that. So now Deontay Wilder is still held in next. It took him to a whole nother level too, because it's like, well, hold on, he got cheated, even though the damn weight of that costume has nothing to do with it, and then Breland and the juju and all that crap Deontay Wilder was talking. People still, no matter what, were supporting him and saying, nope, there's a big kind of question mark over this fight. There's a black mark here on this fight. We need to see the third fight. Finally, after, a whole year or whatever, they finally figured out they have the third fight. And this fight took their profiles. I mean, these guys are going down in the history books. That was the best heavyweight trilogy probably ever, man. Some would say no. I think so. It was just back and forth. And Tyson Fury is the puncher. Deontay Wilder is the puncher. Tyson Fury is the boxer. Deontay Wilder is fighting with his heart. He's trying to find a way to win. And you could just see both of these guys like someone really would have had to die in that ring that night. And that's how far they were willing to take it. And you just don't see that often with people. Now, I'll put it to you this way, right? I don't know how many of you guys, it's not even about boxing, right? Have you ever worked out to the point to where your body is shaking? I mean just shaking. And that's where the mind comes into play. Your mind is telling you, you may be saying, keep going, and your body's saying no. Or sometimes your body it's trying to go, and your mind's like, nah, I'm tired. But when you see what Deontay Wilder in particular was able to do, his body had pretty much shut down in that third fight. That man, I don't see how he stood up, but his mind and his heart kept him going. And so much so the way he was able to hurt Fury several times in that fight. But Deontay Wilder definitely took way more punishment, career-ending punishment in that fight. But then even for Tyson Fury, to get hit, to get hurt several times, and keep coming, and keep putting on the pressure, and keep trying to get him out of there. At some point, you can have the upper hand, but if you're hitting somebody with everything you have and they're not going anywhere, that can be discouraging. Like, okay, well, what do I do now? And a lot of times you see momentum shift to the person who's losing the fight, come back and starts to get the upper hand because mentally the other person falls off. And that fight, that third fight, both of them remained strong. It just got to the point to where it was nothing left Wilder could have given, and Fury clipped him, and that was it. And that fight, even for Wilder, his fan base, everything grew tenfold. Tyson Fury grew tenfold. And that's what you have. That's what a good opponent does for you as a fighter. And that's why Tyson Fury's profile right now is where it's at. You look at what's going on in England right now. Dillian White does play a role in having those 90, 94, 98,000 people coming to that arena. He has something to do with that. But I tell you this, man, because the English fans are going to support their fighters and athletes anyway. It's not just fighters, they just support the people. But Tyson Fury has a lot to do with that. I would say it's mostly because of Tyson Fury. Not solely because he has the right dancing partner, but his profile, the support he's getting, the way people love him now is because of what he came back for, having the right dancing partner to elevate him. And then what they're expecting to see this Saturday. You don't know what you're going to see from Tyson Fury. Boxing, come walk him down. You don't know because Tyson Fury has shown he can do everything. He can box and he has power. Something that you didn't see, except aside from the boxing, you never saw the power until Deontay Wilder. So Deontay Wilder deserves a lot of credit for where Tyson Fury is right now. Deontay Wilder is the reason people want to watch Tyson Fury now more than ever. No matter if you agree with that or not, let's just be fair. Let's be fair. I'm not biased to any fighter. My two favorite fighters are Zab Judah and Chris Bird. Because I'm right-handed, I box southpaw, and I used to watch them to especially see how Zab used to throw that lead left uppercut, and Chris Bird for his defense. So I'm not biased. Let's think about it. If it wasn't for Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, it would be loved, but it wouldn't be like this. His profile, his platform grew 100-fold, man. because of Deontay Wilder. So when Tyson Fury finishes this fight, if he knocks out Dillian White, he needs to thank Deontay Wilder. He really does, because Deontay Wilder helped that man, just like the relationship was complementary as far as Fury to Wilder, helped them both reach greatness, perform to their potential, and capture the minds and hearts of all fight fans and non-fight fans. And I think going into this fight with Dillian White, that 80% to 20% payout, Tyson Fury needs to thank, not his team, he needs to thank Deontay Wilder. Because if without Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury would have never been making the 15, 20, $30 million or whatever he was making in those last couple fights. He would have never made that kind of money. And Deontay Wilder has a lot to do with why Tyson Fury is getting like 30-something million and Dillian White getting like 7. It's because Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury took boxing to another level as far as fighting and as far as pay. And that's the reason why Tyson Fury is in the position he's in right now. Could he have gotten there? I think he could have gotten there still. But it wouldn't have happened that fast. If he would have fought AJ and knocked him out, I think it could have had the same result. I definitely do. But it wouldn't have had the same result in the States. He came to the States and did it. And as a result, him winning in the States benefited him the same as if he was back home in England. Because the fight fans, they don't need to be in the States to see you fight. They watch that on TV and they're going crazy in the pubs and at home. So when he returns home, they're gonna just converge on him and love him up. But if he would have just been having those fights with AJ in England, I don't think that would have transcended over here to the United States. I think he would have still had to come here and get another tough fight to build his profile. It was a smart play. Don't know if that was the end goal, but it was a smart play coming to the States and eventually fighting Deontay Wilder because he couldn't make the AJ fight. Wilder couldn't make the AJ fight, so they fought each other. And that was just probably one of the best decisions that he and Deontay Wilder both could have made, but especially for Tyson Fury, look at where he is now. When Deontay Wilder comes back, you better believe he's going to be looking at a $30 million payday as well, because everyone's going to want to see him. Tyson Fury fans, people from all over the world, because of how he fought that last fight, Tyson Fury was a little bit better. His conditioning was a little bit better, and that was a deciding factor. So I think Tyson Fury definitely should be thankful to Deontay Wilder for those 3 fights. And when Deontay Wilder comes back, whatever he does, I'm going to do a video on him because he should be thanking Tyson Fury as well, especially if Deontay Wilder returns to a $25 to $35 million payday. I mean, and I hope he does. I really do. With that being said, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Getting ready to watch this fight, man. I can't wait. Shout out to all the veterans, everyone who subscribes to the channel. I really appreciate it, man. This is therapeutic for me. This is not work. I enjoy it. Once my little one, I got 4 boys. Once that little guy gets into pre-K, and I'll have all the time in the world, I'm going to be putting like 20 videos a day. But anyway, that's not till August 22nd. As always, y'all take care. I'm in the breeze.